Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Facebook Live. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a fantastic Saturday. I wanted to hop on and get a conversation started about family foundations. And what are family foundations, you would say? Family foundations are the foundations that our lives are built on. Just as a house, look at this building that you can see here, this structure. There was an architect and builders, and they got involved and they decided to build a design based on what the individual that was requiring the building needed. And they decided that they're going to know, depending on how deep, how high the building is, they're going to dig the foundation deep to match the height that they want to go. And our lives are built on foundations as well, and it's built on the foundation of our families. And as parents, sometimes it gets challenging because we begin to see some of the things that we struggled with or some of the issues that we faced. We get to see it manifesting in our own children's lives. And I want to encourage us that the decisions that we make, even in private, impact the next generation. How do I know this? It happens at a spiritual level. Let's talk about visiting the doctor. When we go to the doctor, what does the doctor say? Can you tell me of any family illnesses that your foreparents experienced? And you can list off diabetes, high blood pressure, whatever that family illness was. And that stuff happens at a spiritual level. When I say a spiritual level, it happens at an unseen level. So it gets passed through the genes. Nobody sees it happening, but it's happening there. The same happens when we make decisions in our own personal and private life. If we decide that we're in a relationship and we're going to leave our spouse. Hi friends, thanks for joining, all of you joining on Facebook Live. Good morning. The sun is in my eyes so I can hardly see who's joining, but I want to say good morning and thank you guys for joining the broadcast. I am actually heading to class, but I wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about family foundations to make us aware of what's happening in the background when we make decisions. So we have a series, a family, a father, grandfather, great-grandfather had relationships with women, had children with women, and then they decided, hey, you know what, I can't handle this, I just want to get out of the relationship. So what we have coming down through the generations is a series of separation, divorce, brokenness. And the thing is that when a mother or father decides to leave the spouse and the children, what happens? The children begin to experience things like neglect, rejection. They begin to feel that the other parent doesn't love them. And this is real talk here, okay? This is real talk. This is what happens. I have spoken to enough individuals, and history has shown it, that this is what happens. There's no point in running from it. But I want to challenge us to begin to confront these situations in our own personal lives. As a parent, I have to look and see how are the decisions that I'm making not only impacting myself, but impacting future generations. Because it gets passed down, as I shared with you guys, it gets passed down unseemingly, just like it gets passed down, the sicknesses and stuff like that gets passed down. And so I want to challenge us in this area big time, because we look around and we see things happening with the younger generation and we say, oh, these young people this, these young people that. But I want to say that the patterns that we leave for them, the legacy that we leave for them, the way we live our lives, it actually begins to impact them in an unseeming way. Even though we may think, okay, these children are young, they're not understanding. Of course they're understanding, because based on how a mother and a father speak to each other, the children begin to get their value and they get their pattern started. We are our children's life coaches, the original life coaches of parents. How we live in front of our children is going to impact them based on, they're going to make their relationships thrive or suffer based on how they see us live. Like we tell the children, I remember growing up, you would hear, do as I say and not as I do. But do as I do is what actually manifests in the children's lives. So I want to encourage us today to think seriously, carefully consider, carefully self-assess not only our individual lives, but look at the patterns that have gone before us in our foreparents. And there was a scripture that jumped out at me, and I will get the reference for you, but it says that God visits the iniquities of the third and fourth generation, but he blesses up to 1,000 generations. And I started saying, Lord, why do you visit the iniquities? So iniquities where we miss the mark, where we have patterns that we have repeated over and over again that bring dysfunction in the family life. And it's because he wants an individual to look at the patterns historically and their own pattern and say, okay, I am the generation that I'm going to stand and I'm going to cut off this dysfunctional pattern. So I'm challenging us today, myself, and those of you watching and those of you that will watch the broadcast in the future. Look at the patterns of dysfunction. If you love your children, if you love your nieces and your nephews and your cousins, the younger generation, look and see how you can be a blessing. This man is here knocking. Maybe it's a sign for us to do that construction. Do the construction, begin. He's breaking down the foundations. That is prophetic. God is calling us to break down the foundations of these old buildings and structures that we have in our lives that are causing dysfunction and causing challenges for the next generation. We die and we go, and these children are left dealing with the fallout, dealing with the poor foundation that we have built for them. This is not a broadcast about blaming. This is a broadcast about us being accountable and responsible for the decisions that we're making, because it's going to impact future generations. I don't know if you guys have had an opportunity to watch the movie Avatar, but I absolutely love Avatar because they understood that we're all connected. They understood that we are connected to each other and we are connected to the environment. You know, people talk a lot about what we put out in the universe. God has made principles, and whoever lives by these principles succeed in life, regardless of who you are. So if he has said, work things out, if he has said, work in unity, if he has said, work in harmony, if you look at families that work as a team, they become more successful. But when you look at families that have been tearing down each other, that they have been strife and division, the lives of those individuals are not as successful as individuals that have understood the concept of unity and working together. And yes, we may measure success by, okay, a man may have come from a broken home, but he's a multimillionaire. Yes, he's a multimillionaire financially, but what is happening in his emotional life, in his relational life? So these are all things that make an individual rich. It is not just about the amount of money that we can make. Money is good, don't get me wrong. The scripture tells us that money answers all things. But we want to look at the other aspects of our lives and see how emotionally we're preparing our children, as well as financially, as well as socially, as well as maritally, as well as relationally. We want our children to have a richer, better life than we did. If I talk to any parent, they would say, I want my children to have a better life than I did. But so often, whoops, the trees are falling. So often we focus a lot on the financial aspect, but we don't take time to look at how are we emotionally showing up for our children. Do we blaze in anger? Did our grandfather blaze in anger when anybody asked him anything? These are areas that show that our foundation needs rebuilding. And the best foundational rebuilder I know is God. He's been showing me some incredible things in the area of foundations, and that's why I wanted to hop on and share with you guys a little bit on an area of coaching that I am endeavoring to participate in, helping individuals understand the foundation that their lives are built on in the realm of family, and helping them move from whatever dysfunction they're currently operating in to a functional state, so that we not only have richer lives relationally and in the realm of family, but if a strong family foundation means a strong community, means a strong nation. And God is calling us to look at our family foundation so that we can build better structures, so that the future generations will have an opportunity to have a successful family life. When King David died, King Solomon, which is his son, one of his many sons, experienced peace on every side. Why is that? Because King David dealt with the enemies that were facing his family. He didn't deal with all of them, but he dealt with so many of them that King Solomon was able to have peace on every side. Do you want your children? So that's my challenge to you today, my question to all of us. Do we want our children to have peace on every side? Do we want our children to have a successful family life? When King David died, King Solomon, which is his son, one of his many sons, experienced peace on every side. Why is that? Because King David dealt with the enemies that were facing his family. He didn't deal with all of them, but he dealt with so many of them that King Solomon was able to have peace on every side. Do you want our children? to have peace on every side. And if we do, if you're serious about that, then we will begin to assess the way we live in public and in private and allow God to show us how to begin to build strong family foundations. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If this broadcast has been a blessing, please share it so other people will be blessed and encouraged by this and be challenged and provoked to transformation in the inner man. So I'm going to be sharing with you on a series of family foundations so I can make us aware of what is happening and giving you guys an opportunity as I develop my courses and coaching business to be able to partner with me, and I partner with you to make our family foundations better. Thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. And I'm going to go head to class and equip myself so that I can be more successful as a life coach. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys. See you soon.